Hello, folks. Welcome back to FreepCast. I'm Robb Murray, here as always with Joe Spear, the managing editor of the FreepCast, and we have a lot of news to talk about today. We've got stuff at the Mankato Brewery. We've got stuff with the benches and the animals in the community. What do you want in the sports? A lot of sports going on. What do you want to talk about first,
A lot
Joe?
of sports. Let's update benches since that story came out this morning, and it has a few twists and turns to it that we weren't expecting. So we've been following up on the whole, benches had to reduce its hours because of staff shortages and disarray on the board, and they told the city about a month ago that they can't help them with the impound anymore. So the city was kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what are we going to do, and they were going to have to open up their impound again. Although when we had John Brady in here, of benches, he seemed very confident that they could get back up and running and helping the city. So we haven't followed up with him since then, except for some exchanges of emails. And we were going to go to their meeting, which somehow there was a mix-up. I thought it was Tuesday night. I thought we were told Tuesday night, and apparently it was Monday night. So we kind of missed that. So we need to follow up with them. But the city's moving on. They're opening the impound January 1st, going back to staffing it a little bit part-time. And they're working with Mending Spirits, a group you're familiar with, a foster,
Very much so.
all volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
What about Mending Spirits? Tell us what you know.
Mending Spirits has been around, I'm not sure how many years exactly, but at least 10 years. Started out very small as you say, a volunteer-based foster group, and they've grown a lot. I was just speaking with the director, Christy Olson, recently about how far they've come. She's actually featured in an upcoming magazine article coming out in January. But she talked about they went from, a few animals and big plans, and now they've got hundreds of animals coming in. They routinely go down to Texas to get animals. Wide network of volunteers who foster animals. They've come a long way. They're very well respected.
Well, that answers a little bit of the question, because I kind of thought they were a small, organization, volunteers only. But you've had a perspective on how much they've spread out and how many they must have a capacity to handle a lot of fosters. And
they do.
Yeah, so good news. It sounds like the city is going to work with them, and maybe benches will come back on. But I don't know, the tone of the article today with city manager Susan Arntz, her tone just seemed like we try to work with benches and it's not going to happen. The tone just seemed, kind of
It seems like
frustrated.
They're not ready to commit anything
Yeah.
to benches right now. Maybe that'll change down the road. Maybe if things change and there's more stability there, things will change for that relationship. It would be nice to see benches come back and be what it was before. So
Yeah, you'd like to see that. But it sounds like some progress for the lost animals. And I think, the city said they're going to try to have microchip technology to try to track if some of the animals have microchips. They have, they're going to use social media, which we could help them with. We could share their social media posts on lost pets. We have 29,000 people on our Facebook page. And I think, as a public service, we'd be willing to do that. Get these owners and help them find their pets. It seems like that's one of the issues that, if the pets just are there for a long time. But we also did a story on Mending Spirits, right? A couple of days ago.
yes,
On how they're seeing a larger influx of pets, strays, and abandoned animals, and speculating that it's tough for people to feed them in the economy, and they're struggling financially. So they're helping with food, I believe, and other things like that for people. So a great turnaround on that story. We'll continue to follow it. And it sounds like it's solved for now. I think people were, well, you said it, we had, I don't know, hundreds of comments on our Facebook page about people worried that the city was going to follow state law where you have an animal 5 days and no one claims it and you can euthanize it.
People were very upset about the euthanasia question for sure.
So I think that
understandably,
it sounds like they're backing off of that.
Right.
So cross our fingers and hope this thing gets going again. John Brady did talk to us about the advisory committee they've got now. It sounds like they got a lot of support, so maybe it's just a matter of time.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed for benches.
Yeah. And then another surprising development, well, maybe not surprising, Mankato Brewery is shutting down after 12 years. We knew it was up for sale, right? Last August, Tim Tooby told us they were looking for almost $4 million for it. And apparently no serious buyer came forward. In our follow-up story today, Tim said, we were talking to a few people, but it fell through, and there were just barriers. And I keep scratching my head thinking, it seemed like a successfully run business, had good clientele, had distribution in the bars and liquor stores. And, Tim had told us he wanted to get out of it because he was running two businesses, Live Aveda with his wife, and none of the kids wanted to take it over. His partners didn't want to take it over. So I'm scratching my head about that, having covered business a long time. And you think, I think the trends in the brewing industry, craft brewery industry, some were going out of business, but there were some new ones, as we know, two of them in St. Peter, Paddlefish and Tremendous. So, yeah, you're wondering, it's a good market in Mankato. Certainly some people took issue with the location of Mankato Brewery and think it was too far out of the way, that sort of thing. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
It was a weird location, and I love going to the brewery. I still go there. I know some people have commented on the smell when you go in there. You can smell the brewing process. It is what it is. I mean, you go to a brewery, that's how it smells, and I think that's kind of what Tim wanted to do with it.
Right.
Have you consuming the beer, within a few feet of where the tanks are, there's some draw to that. There is also some smell, and I know for some people they didn't want to go there for that.
Yeah.
However, I'm still a little bit baffled that they couldn't find a buyer. As you say, it is a very successful business. They're in every bar in town. They're in every liquor store in town.
And elsewhere.
I was going to say their reach is pretty wide. They're on tap in Duluth or someplace.
People I know, love Mad Butcher in the Twin Cities. I mean,
it's. I would like to find out why nobody else sees that as a business to scoop up and improve upon, make better, keep going as it is. It does seem like it's a successful business right now.
Yeah. And it sounded like they were their plan B was to sell the equipment in the building.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe there's something in that. I would think too, if you lowered the price enough, somebody would be more interested. But maybe there's not a way to do that without losing a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So, sad to see it go. After usually after 12 years, a business gets pretty established. It's usually in the first 3 or 4 years, new businesses fail. So I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, it's certainly going to be a loss, and people are going to miss some of their favorite beers.
Maybe the Free Press could purchase it and move the newsroom down there.
Well, that's a thought. We've tried a lot of other things. Who knows? So interesting story, and I'm sure we'll follow along, and maybe something will happen still with that. But as of now, end of January, sounds like. So
get your merch now.
Yeah, merch now. I've heard there's some deals on some of the beers in the liquor stores. I'm in the process of checking that out. So anyway, another story to find. A couple other news items of interest, but maybe not a lot to talk about. We knew state softball tourneys were going to move to the Twin Cities, the final games, not at Caswell anymore, girls softball. We talked about this before. Makes sense to give them a bigger venue. I think it's the U of M field they're going to go to. So, but we'll still have some of it down here. I'm sure we'll lose a little business at the hotels and the bars and restaurants from that championship days. But that's moving ahead. The high school board proved that. don't hear too many things about guns in schools here, but we had an incident of authorities finding a gun in a backpack of a East High School student's backpack, and found out about it right away. There was no threat. The resource officer came in, and the PD were notified after that, and schools notified parents as soon as possible. That's what I like about it. Principal.
Well, not as soon as possible.
No?
There were some folks complaining that they didn't find out like immediately.
Okay. I'm not sure of the timing. I thought they sent out a note to parents pretty quickly.
Maybe they did. Maybe the folks on our Facebook page didn't get the email or didn't know.
Uh-oh. No way.
There was an email, but yeah.
Folks on our Facebook page?
Folks on our
That's not possible. They have a fact wrong or two.
But even if that was the case.
Even if they did, yeah.
Even if they did wait a little bit, I'm okay with that. If they announce immediately, say they find a gun at 9 a.m, you got a flood of people rushing to the school. Concerned, for sure they're concerned.
Right. They've got to have more details.
There's no risk, there's no safety concerns, and if they don't know that, they're going to rush there anyway.
Right.
It would be a lot of panic, and I'm not sure that's the best thing
to
do if you're the school. So I think it sounds like they handled everything the right way.
Yeah, and I think they had details like, resource officers involved. Nobody was threatening anybody.
Right.
I think we asked about it, and I think they're still investigating like how it got past the door. And there are no metal detectors, of course. So, and visitors have to be screened, but I'm not sure how students have to be screened. So we're still trying to find out a little bit more about that, of course. But I applaud East and Principal Akram Osman for his proactiveness and telling people what's going on.
Yep. That's
the best antidote to rumor mills and bad social media. Just get the facts out there as soon as possible. Don't hide it because you think it's going to be bad news, or it'll worry parents. I mean, that's what parents do; they worry. So you have to just give the information as much as you can, and I think this was a really good example of that, and I hope other public agencies consider this response a good one and follow that protocol when dealing with the media, because that's the worst thing to do is for us to try to quell the social media after a lie has been shared 50,000 times.
Have we had a gun in the school situation in this town? I don't remember one.
Yeah, I'm hard pressed to come up with one as well. I think of course this was 25 years ago, right? When there was a threat in LeSueur High School,
right,
of the kid who was threatening and had a gun, and there was some gun fired, yeah, and they got him, and maybe more than 25 years ago. I'm thinking it was in the 90s, and we about 10 years ago, I think we did a follow-up story, and the kid was out of jail and everything, and we just call him and ask how he's doing, and he said he was doing fine. He's gotten over his troubles, and
is that Leonard? Corey Leonard?
That name was escaping me, but that is it.
Yeah.
So, gun in school. Doesn't happen much. Another just small item. Rochester firm was penalized for the death of a worker in North Mankato, fell off a building. I think it was a roofing or gutter company or something. And people should know those reports are public reports. Anybody can find out about a worker injury. It goes through OSHA, and we have our contacts, and we're always on those when those happen. We always put in the request for the public report on the workplace injury accident, and sometimes they take a while, but we do get them, and sometimes there's a fine involved. Sometimes the companies want to challenge OSHA's analysis of what they did wrong in terms of safety, but it's always something we are tracking as professional journalists trained in these kind of things. Your desktop cowboy is not. probably wouldn't know what OSHA is. So another point for trusting journalism and supporting it, good journalism. Another kind of tragic police thing that looks like it's gotten resolved. The accident with the Gustavus girls hockey team, where one of the teammates was killed, and the other was driving and didn't see a stop sign and went through it, and so we have a report on that. We follow up with that, and it looks like a stay of adjudication, what they say, which is, you're a court reporter, means they're staying the.
It means after a certain time period, usually a year or two, it will go off their record. It won't be adjudicated.
Okay, so it's
adjudication
and I think
is the process that by which, and if I'm wrong, somebody please call in and correct me. But I think that's the case. Is if you stay law-abiding for a year or so, it goes off your record.
Yeah, I think there was a probation situation here where the person was not doing jail time or anything like that. Sports. A lot of sports happening. Crazy. Maverick football wins again when they're not supposed to in the quarterfinal at Blakesley. Defensive stand on the last second play. Bemidji almost took the game with a touchdown. Knocked the pass down, and Mavericks going to the semifinal of the national tournament, right? If they win this one, they're in the championship game for the national tournament.
Yes.
And they're playing in Valdosta, Georgia, which I hear is bloody hot almost all the time and really humid. So, but it's winter, so maybe it's a little easier.
Yeah.
Soccer, same thing. Women's soccer in the semifinal game. That's cool. And we'll be following those stories.
Soccer won in overtime with penalty kicks.
Penalty kicks. Was it 4-5 or something like that? It's a crazy number.
Yep, I watched
and
the very end of that.
What's cool about that, as a former goalie, hockey goalie, I wasn't a soccer goalie, but it's similar, except you have to guess a lot more when you're a soccer goalie, which was fun because they brought in the girl who hadn't played the whole game because she's a better goalie for penalty kicks. And we interviewed her, and she said, well, you just have to guess a little bit more. You have to guess which way they're going.
What'd she say, 80% guesswork?
Yeah. I think that's so cool as a goalie.
It's got to be high stress, though.
It does, yeah. And, Casey had some great photos from that. I think one of the saves. So really cool. And Maverick hockey rolls along.
Casey's
wins.
here now. Did you get the save? The save of the game,
he got the save of the game.
Awesome.
That is cool. That is what, and John Cross had a lot of great football photos as well on that day. So sports photos are great. Another benefit of your local daily paper, all those sports photos. Bloggers not going to be going out taking sport photos. So just so you know. Maverick hockey, 2 wins. Tight one against Bowling Green and came through. But every game is tough in the league. Everybody, will have a chance to beat you. And they're now ranked 13th, which is up about 3 or 4.
Yep.
And I don't think the Wisconsin Badgers are ranked in the. Isn't that your team?
It's one of my teams. When it comes to Division I hockey, I'm a Maverick fan.
And Mike Hastings over there, what's happening? I thought it was going to be all championship all the way.
He had a good year last year. This year, not so much. And actually, one of the players he took with him to Madison is the team captain.
Yeah.
Christian Fitzgerald.
Right.
Good player.
And I will note also that we finally got an interview with Governor Walz. I got a phone interview with him last week. 18 minutes. Really generous with his time. And he started doing a lot of one-on-one interviews last week, I think. I saw one at, I think, KSTP. But just good to talk to him. I really just wanted to get his perspective on the whole campaign thing, what it was like, how different it was. He just has a lot of appreciation for Minnesota now, seeing politics everywhere else. And he took a lot of criticism, people scrutinizing his military record, scrutinizing his and his wife's efforts to have a baby. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And he just kind of rolled his eyes. He said, I was expecting it. bought in for it. The only thing he said he was angry about is when the national media went after his kids, or his kid Gus, and said kind of crazy stuff. Gus is kind of nonverbal, so I don't know what they were saying, but it was, and Governor was just shaking his head and like, these people are saying this, get paid to say this, and he was kind of upset about that. But otherwise, I think he's just kind of getting back to normal, like in being governor again. And he noted that he didn't really apply for the VP job. He was asked about it, I think, or chosen, and said he's willing to do it. But I thought it was interesting. He said he didn't really apply. So
that's weird, because if you ask any of the national pundits out there, they will say his the way he was carrying himself and the things he said prior to him being on the short list for VP, they would characterize that as him auditioning for it.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying he was. I'm just
yeah,
saying
I think he got asked, by Fox News and some of the big outlets before he was chosen. So, I mean, maybe it was kind of a tryout. Maybe Harris people said, "Hey, you should check out this guy, get him on," and so you know how those things work. But yeah, just I was interested in his reflections on, it was 20 years to the day that he first got involved in politics with that rally in Mankato at the Bush rally, and 20 years to the day that he got the nomination. So it was kind of a timely thing. But he said he mentioned that, but he said national media didn't pick up on it much. Didn't think it was that interesting. I guess we thought it was interesting.
Well, it was to us.
Yes, it was to us. So anyway, I think we can get wrapping up here pretty quick. I want to just thank everybody for listening. We are getting good feedback from people on this podcast, and we encourage you to support the journalism we're talking about here by subscribing to the Free Press. You can do that online under our subscription tab. It's easy. Or you can call us at 625-3764, or email us readerservice@mankatofreepress.com. If you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, having your business name associated with this high-level, intelligent discussion about journalism and public affairs, you can call our advertising department, 344-6364. You can also get reprints of photos with our partner, SPX Sports, and you can do that also on our website by clicking a dot, and it takes you to a list of photos. Or you can call them, find out about it, 345-7196, to check if your photos are up yet or anything like that. But otherwise, we appreciate your listenership, and contact us if you have stories or ideas about this podcast.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next time.